That's it? Okay. Senator Ensign.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Genachowski, I appreciated earlier when you were talking about wanting to, continue encouraging the government, promoting, investment, expansion of broadband across, and more competition. All of those good principles that I think that we all share. Sometimes we have disagreements on exactly the best way to get there and things, but certainly the principles, those kind of guiding principles, I think that we all do share, and I know we've talked about that. I want to turn just a little different because we've heard recently, dealing with Title I, Title II, issues. Title I being a much lighter regulatory touch. Title II, given the FCC much more potential heavy-handedness when it comes to regulation. So I'd like to touch on that, and because we've heard recently that some groups have called on the FCC to regulate the Internet under Title II of the Communications Act, and I believe that this would reverse the successful deregulation that has helped to lead to explosive growth in the broadband age that we've seen over the last several years. Broadly speaking, we know that regulation has costs. At stake would be billions of dollars potentially invested annually by the private sector in broadband. So I guess I would like to ask your opinion, what would the impact on the private sector investment be if the FCC were to reclassify the Internet under Title II?
Well, the first thing I'd say, Senator, is that job number one right now at the FCC, our focus is on developing the policies that will promote universal broadband in America, rural America and urban America, so that we can have a world-class infrastructure that's an engine for job creation, for ongoing investment, for innovation, for helping improve our education. This is, to me, a major issue of global competitiveness for the United States, and we are working very hard, as you know, looking at what are the policies we need to do to promote those interests, to protect and empower consumers with the 21st century world-class infrastructure. On the technical issue that you mentioned, as you know, the FCC has in the past relied on Title I as its authority to promote the interests of consumers, rural Americans, others in and around broadband. And today we're, not literally today, but right now we're arguing in court defending the position that Title I gives us the authority we need to do the right things for American communities, American businesses, American consumers. We'll continue to assert that position, and we will hope that we get a favorable decision from the court that's looking at it right now. Until then, our focus is on the issues that I mentioned. If the court does something that requires us to consider issues, we'll do that. But right now, I think there's nothing more important than we could do than to make sure we move forward on a national broadband plan that drives forward U.S. global competitiveness on our communications infrastructure.
Well, I appreciate that, and I just want to, encourage, simple because as I mentioned, I think that there is a real cost to, heavier regulation, and we have to be so careful with, this almost miracle of investment in the Internet that we've seen in America and across the world, that we want to continue to see that investment with 4G coming out, all of the various things that we're seeing, very exciting. A lot of job creations, a lot of the future of our economy we know is there, and I just think that, whether you get the favorable court decision or not, if the FCC decides or considers taking it from Title I to Title II, I think it could be a major mistake, and I think that that's why this issue needs to be, aired out and discussed and a lot of input put in so that we consider all the ramifications if that does happen. So I appreciate, I appreciate both of your service and both of you being here today, though. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Ensign. Unfortunately, I have to go to the floor to do the Federal Aviation Administration. Senator Kerry will chair, and Senator Cantwell is next up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your